What is up, ladies and gents? You know what time of day it is. It's XCN time, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about XCN. I'll be giving you guys a quick price update here on XCN, and that means I'll be giving you my price predictions for XCN over the coming days, as well as my target for 2025. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you are a new viewer, welcome to this channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit that like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you all here. So we're going to be diving straight into this video, and we're just going to start off with the shorter term price action here on XCN. Now, of course, the first important thing to note here is that today is Easter Sunday here in the West. So of course, that means that generally speaking, people are going to be spending time off of the charts, and we can kind of see that already in the price action. There really isn't all that much volatility. The prices have been very, very steady around this 1.8 cents region here on Onyxcoin. Trading volume is at lows here at this very current point in time, and you can see that on the top right here, here's a list of all the cryptos that we have covered on this channel. And most of them have barely moved over the past 24 hours. You know, we're seeing minus 0.2%, 0.7%, 1% in a few places. But yeah, really not much price action whatsoever. So if we get the annotations back on the chart, and in fact, let me just simplify this just a little bit. This is what I'm monitoring here right now on XCN. Now, of course, what we see here on the charts is this shorter term triangle. So this is the one we were monitoring yesterday. We had this very short term triangle, and as you guys can see, due to the lack of sort of trading volume here, the lack of buyers coming in to buy up on its coin at this point, we have just seen the prices fall down below this shorter term triangle. So the immediate implication of this triangle is this distance here. Of course, since we've seen a breakdown of this triangle, we can expect the price target to take us down to roughly 1.55 cents. So of course, that's the price target from this shorter term triangle that we have spotted just yesterday. Of course, the good news here for the bulls is that I personally think that things could flip at any time. All we need to see is a little bit of trading volume come into the markets. Of course, when we see a breakout to the upside or to the downside of any sort of price pattern, we also want to see an increase in trading volume. But as the prices have slipped down below this really short-term triangle here, although the prices are starting to head down, we haven't seen an increase in any trading volume that would support this sort of breakout here. So the good news for the bulls is that I personally think that we could flip back to going up at any point here, just as long as buyers start stepping in with some trading volume. And if any such scenario occurs, as you can see, we are really close to this longer term pattern that we are seeing here on Onyxcoin. This is of course a bullish chart pattern. This is a falling wedge that I'm now closely monitoring because we are quite close to this upper resistance here. If we start to see prices rise here on Onyxcoin, it could trigger off this pattern at any given point. And of course, if that does occur, we could be looking at a price target of the length of the parabolic move going into that falling wedge. Let's say it just breaks out tomorrow, for example. We could see a price target here on Onyxcoin of 3.9 cents. So this is a very big price target, 117% to the upside. So it's definitely one that I'm closely monitoring. Of course, a lot of other things that tell me that we could be breaking out soon here on Onyxcoin. Of course, I do think we could get quite a big price move here on Onyxcoin sooner rather than later, maybe within the next 24 hours, which is why I'm preparing you guys with this video. Of course, it's not just here on Onyxcoin where we're seeing something quite exciting develop. If we have a look at Bitcoin, for example, of course, we've been monitoring Bitcoin because if Bitcoin is bullish, then generally the whole crypto market, including us Onyxcoin holders, are going to be doing very well as well. And here on Bitcoin, if I show you the price action for the past few days, we've been really consolidating between these two major trend lines. Let me just get rid of this one down here. And what we can see, in fact, one day chart looked a little bit better, is that the prices are really compressing here over the past few days between these two major trend lines. And of course, we've got this long-term bullish support here that's been keeping Bitcoin in this multi-year bullish trend, and we've got this shorter term resistance here that's been keeping Bitcoin in this shorter term bearish trend. And what we're going to see possibly over the next few days is Bitcoin having to make its mind up. Are we going to break out to the upside and start on a new bullish trend once again? Or are we going to lose this bullish support here and continue on this shorter term downtrend that we are seeing? And of course, as you guys can see, Bitcoin is right in the corner between these two trend lines. That basically means that Bitcoin has until the 22nd of April, so 2 days time, to make its mind up whether it's going to break past this upper resistance line or fall down below this support. So of course, with any such move, I do expect there to be quite a decision here on Onyxcoin as well. If Bitcoin breaks out past its upper resistance line, I do expect a scenario more like this one to play out, and that's going to give us a good chance of getting to this 3.9 cents region, especially if we start to see an increase in trading volume down here. Of course, if Bitcoin falls down below its support there, I would expect Onyxcoin to reach that target from that shorter term triangle that we mentioned. That would take it down to a price of roughly 1.5 cents. Having said that, for Onyxcoin though, that would not be too bad, because as you can see, that price target of 1.5 cents would still keep Onyxcoin within this longer term falling wedge type pattern, and that still means that Onyxcoin has the possibility, upon breaking out of this upper resistance line here at a later date, maybe it happens in May for example, it still gives us the opportunity to get that 117% trade if we break out past that resistance. So those are the key things here that I'm monitoring on XCN in the shorter term. Of course, in yesterday's video, I also mentioned this trend line for the falling wedge. This, guys, and of course, just to update you on this one, I do think this one could still definitely be valid, but the fact that we didn't get a clear breakout past this upper trend line here tells me that this one isn't as relevant now as something possibly more like this, which kind of encompasses also the peak of the price there as we did this major rally. So at the moment, I'm currently paying attention more to this one. Of course, as you can see, the prices are close to it. So if we do start picking up in trading volume as prices head past this upper resistance, then we know for sure this is going to be the resistance that's going to be in play here. So that's kind of my shorter term update here for you guys. Just a brief look here at the MACD as well. And on the 1 day chart, we are starting to see the two lines close into each other. At this rate, if we don't see a pump, then we probably might get a sell signal here on the 1 day charts over the next few days. Of course, if we do get that sell signal, let me just show you what happened back in January when we got a sell signal on the MACD. As you can see, that signaled this 3-month downtrend that we saw on Onyxcoin. So if we're going to see a breakout on Onyxcoin, it has to happen pretty soon, guys. But of course, guys, for the longer term, of course, me personally, I am more of a longer term holder than a shorter term holder here on Onyxcoin. And every time we see some bearish price action here, I just zoom out here on the Onyxcoin charts, and this is what I remind myself of. Of course, the progress here on Onyxcoin is still absolutely phenomenal. We're holding up 15x from where the prices were just 6 months ago. And like I say, not many other cryptocurrencies can actually say that about themselves. So I'm still impressed with how Onyxcoin is performing in the longer term, despite whatever might happen in the shorter term. Of course, for my longer term price targets here on Onyxcoin, this is what I am watching for. Of course, you know, if you see my previous videos, that we love the fibs here, because basically Onyxcoin does respect these Fibonacci levels very, very well. Prices, for example, after they peaked there in January, came all the way down to the 0.382 fib. And after it touched this level, we saw a massive pump that took it to the 0.78 fib before this retracement that we are seeing. So XCN loves these fib levels, and using that logic, we can predict that XCN in 2025, you know, when we see a full on bull market, we see extreme greed return to the markets, Bitcoin making new all-time highs, those kind of conditions here, then that's when we're going to see XCN really take on these upper fib levels here. Of course, my two main targets is this 1.414 fib here, which sits at roughly 17 to 18 cents. Of course, this one I really like as well, because that's Onyxcoin's previous all-time high. So we can also expect there to be quite a bit of selling pressure as prices knock down this level. And of course, if we are being ambitious, the next price target for Onyxcoin here sits at 32 to 33 cents. That's my ambitious price target, and that's that golden fib there at 1.618. That's telling us that we could get there. So of course, That's my 2025 targets here for XCN. Like I say, completely possible when we have the right conditions here in crypto. But for now, in the shorter term, like I say, the chart is looking slightly bearish in the sense that we could drop down to the 1.5 cents region. But I want you guys to be prepared for any quick change here on XCN. We could see a breakout at any moment, in my opinion. And if we see a breakout, like I say, we could see another rally like what we saw back in April the 9th there that could take the prices all the way towards the 4 cents region. So I'm excited for that prospect, but I'm also prepared for a scenario where we start heading down to the 1.5 cents region. So of course, guys, that is my quick Sunday price update for you. Of course, if you do celebrate, then happy Easter to you guys. I hope it's a nice restful day for you. And otherwise, guys, I'll be seeing you in my next video.